Hello guys, and welcome to video number 2 of my mini series using some paper scraps and also scrap lifting myself. So here is my inspiration page for today. This was published in Better Homes and Garden, Scrapbook, etc. And it is like I said before, it's a very simple page. It had a blue cardstock background, a bunch of photos, and just a little bit of pattern paper. Really, there was a block of pattern paper that housed my title and also my journaling, and that's pretty much it. It had a few little die cuts here and there. Now, the thing that I liked about this page was because it offered multiple photo ideas, and it had, I think it had like 6 or 7 2x3 photos, but I don't have 2x3s. I only have 3x4. So I'm going to have a little less photo, but it's still multi-folded, which I like. Now I've decided to use a green or evergreen tree pattern paper background. Again, the page was very simple, but nowadays my style, I like pattern, and so I'm going to go with that. I also use that kind of checkered plaid red paper as the center. Now I am using I'm using 6 photos here, and they are a combination of 2x3s and 3x4 photos. Now the inspiration page was kind of like an everyday type of theme. It was a picture, or it was documentation of one of our favorite things to do at that time. This page was the inspiration page was published, I want to say, in about 2007, 2008. And at that time, we this was during that time where you still had your favorite video store that you go to rent videos, and so that was what I was documenting at the time. But nowadays we have Netflix, and I mean, of course, I still borrow videos from the library, but I don't have a video store to physically borrow or rent videos anymore. But I love the design of it. Like I said, it offered some multiple photo ideas, and so that's what I'm doing. Now, since the background is super busy, I am going to mat all of my my photos with white cardstock. And these days, I use the backside of pattern papers, especially if they're just one-sided pattern papers. I use the backside of them to make my white cardstock. And so that's another way that you can use your paper scraps, is if you don't like the pattern or you don't care for it anymore, you can always flip it to the other side and use the white cardstock for whatever you use white cardstock for. I usually, for my scrapbooking purposes or my scrapbooking use, I usually use white cardstock for matting photos, also for printing journaling. That's pretty much what I use my white cardstock for. Now for card making, of course, that's a totally different thing, but usually I use white cardstock for stamping sentiments and then cutting that sentiments and adding it to the card. So whatever you use white cardstock for, you can always use the backside of pattern paper. And I hope that you guys are liking these ideas for using paper scraps. I know that they're not new ways of using paper scraps, but I do hope that you get a few ideas that you can use for your paper crafting needs. So going back to this layout, I'm just matting all the photos now, and just trimming them down. I guess I could use my scissors for this, but I like the straight edge that I get when I use my paper trimmer. So I have trimmed some of those 3x4s into maybe squares, like that True Love photo. I trimmed that just a little bit so that it will fit my design. I gotta say that this newer version of this layout was a little bit busier than I had anticipated, but it's all good. And now I went to my die cut stash and grabbed a few die cuts that would work with this particular page, and I die cut a bunch of hearts and some labels, some stars, and the word joy. Now, as you can see, these are photos of creche or the nativities. Our church puts out, our local branch of the church puts out a, they call it a creche, which is a display of various nativity sets, and kind of to kick off the holiday or the Christmas season. And so this was, I believe this was when we visited it in 2015. And so yeah, and I took pictures of it, and so now I'm documenting the nativities that I had photographed. In particular, there were a bunch of nativity sets that were made from the Philippines, and I'm Filipino, so I felt kind of proud to see all those really gorgeous sets that were made of different woods and things that local to the Philippine nation, and so I'm documenting that. Now, I was showing you a little bit earlier how in the inspiration page I created some lines that intersected on the top with sewing machine. Now, I didn't really want to pull out my sewing machine, so I used this connected heart die from Paper Smooches and die cut a bunch of those heart strips and use that instead of stitching. And so again, there are so many ways that we can use our scraps, and one of them is just to die cut shapes out of it. Now, the inspiration page also had some labels in there, and so I cut some labels out of paper, pattern paper, and then I added some gold stars because I connect stars with the Christmas season, so I die cut that as well. Now I'm looking for something to add to my title. Now the joy one was just kind of getting a little bit lost, and so I needed something to go with it, and I'm pulling out this sticker. As you can see on the top of that sticker sheet, it says bundle of joy. It is from an older baby line from Echo Park, but I liked the colors of it because it is kind of close to the green of the background, but it's not going to blend just just blend so you won't see it. It's still kind of it still kind of blends a little bit, but it's all okay, because when I put it in my sheet protector and my albums, you can still read the Christmas word on there, and I'm totally fine with that. So now I'm just doing some finishing touches, just adding some more die cuts here and there. I did adhere the letters with some mini dots, and then of course the sticker, just adhere that right on the paper because it already has an adhesive in the back. I added a few more stars here and there, and that's gonna do it for me. I do share the inspiration page again one more time at the end of this video, plus adding some close-up videos or close-up pictures right at the end of the video. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section below, and I'd love to hear what you think of how I turned the inspiration page to this most recent layout, and I will catch you guys another day. Bye.